Beck, and hi everybody. I'm Chris Moody and I'm Chief Brand Officer and founder of BrandAudits, and we specialise in auditing brands from a strategic point of view. So we look at what the brand says they want to do, so their strategy, and we look at what they actually look like in the real world. So as far as retailers are concerned, what does their website look like, or the in-store experience? So just making sure that strategy, which is often a written document or is a written document, is translated into every touch point across the organisation. So yeah, so thank you.
Thanks for joining us today, Chris. It's always great to have you sharing your expertise. So tell me, retailers are doing it very hard right now. What can they do during this time, during this hibernation, to get in the best position possible?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, it's very overwhelming. I think this week, the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of clarification, thank goodness. So Morrison got everything through Parliament last night at 10:30 with the JobKeeper, job seeker, whatever, last night. So I think there's a lot more clarity. But I think the first thing to do is to get going. So stabilise the business. So talk to your accountant, talk to your landlord, talk to anyone that's involved with the business. So all your suppliers, everyone in the supply chain. What I often do, I do this every year anyway, get them in the same room if you can, obviously not during this crisis, but via Zoom, get them all together, because sometimes you don't want conflicting advice either. So you want legal aspects, you want accounting aspects, or financial aspects. So sometimes you need those two people together to help you through this, and they need to be on the same page. But also it's all about preserving the business. So it's actually about self-education. So what I did personally, because there's lots of words being thrown around and everyone's got advice and every day we see stuff, and I think it's a little bit overwhelming. So I just sat down and said, well, who do I take advice from? So how do I educate myself on some of the terms and what it means, and looking at some of the fine print? Because on initial glance, it looks like this money is flying everywhere, but it doesn't seem to be landing anywhere. So what I did was I went to the government websites, I went to CommBank. Now I do bank with CommBank because I like their interface and their ease for business customers. But what I do like is that they've got everything in one place. So it's really easy to find. It's not necessarily what they can help you with. It's way beyond that. But I sat down, I actually put a little notebook together. Don't laugh at me, but I've got a little coronavirus because I wanted to be able to go through and go, okay, this is the date today, because I'm dating everything because it could change tomorrow. So I, ATO linked, making sure things are linked, doing all the stuff that you've got to do. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter, crisis or not, doing some of these things like registering with the ATO for JobKeeper, it's a process. So you can't get frustrated. That notebook keeps me sane. You're dealing with layers. They've made it easier, but you're dealing with layers. And you go in there one day and they've changed it since then because they've found something else. So keep calm, get a notebook, write everything in. But the most important thing is don't just hand it over to those advisors. Do your self-education first. Do it on, just sit there and do it. Just know what some of the terms mean. Write it in your notebook. And then what I did after that was I had questions. How does it affect this? How does it do? So that you're going into those meetings. Well, one, you've got to be obviously paying for advice from your advisors. So you've got to watch those sort of budgets. Or NRA's got obviously great webinars and information. So that's another source where I'd be going to as well to overlay, because they've got the latest for retailers, and I think that's important. And as I said, formulating those questions. So one, you look like you've done your homework and you're not wasting time and you can get right to the point. And then overlay it with the differences, uniqueness in your business. There'll be things connected from personal business, particularly the business structure. So you need to just be aware, because what I found with my research is it looks like, for example, the banks are doing certain things and they're reducing this and delaying that, but there's no such thing as free money. So when you look at the fine print, it's got to be, a loan is a loan is a loan. It's a moratorium. It's a holiday for your loans. But at the end of the day, so what's going to happen in 6 months? So what I try to do is look at it from, okay, that's great, but where are the long term hooks on this? Where are the pitfalls on this? So think of the big picture. Don't just think 6 months. So I think that's the basic. That's like the foundations. Get that right first, and then what I'd also do is actually making time for yourself to self-educate. So make the most of it. It's very rare that you get this time that you can't open your store. You can talk to your staff. Keep communicating with your staff, particularly around JobKeeper and how that rolls out, because they'll be nervous too. There's no jobs out there really, so they're not going to go around and look for other jobs at the moment. So keep them linked into your community, keep close to them. But also have the question, and again in your notebook, what could the future look like? So forget about look at what we know. We don't know a lot. When are we going to get out of isolation, or they call it self-isolation, whatever they're calling it now? We don't know. But just sort of say, what will my future look like? So, okay, tomorrow the government says you can all go out and play. Everyone can go out now and play outside, no restrictions. Well, what happens then? So keep that notebook so you can sort of I'll be doing that at the back and sort of going, okay, as soon as we're getting out of hibernation, this is what we're going to do. So that you've got a list. Not only does it keep you organised, it also keeps you motivated and gives you a job to do. So have that structure so that every day you're doing some sort of movement towards, well, we're going to open in end of May or end of June. Doesn't matter. Just keep going with what you can do at that time. And also, there's so many free tools. I did something the other day. I just thought, what do I want to learn? And it was around, I do a lot of Zoom meetings, have done for years, but there's always something you can learn. So I got onto a site called General Assembly, free, how to deliver content online, I think it's called. They've got a lot of free courses, and I did it. A lot of it I knew, but I went, wow, that's a really good tip. If you can take one tip, don't worry about if you know 50 of the tips they're giving you. If you learn one tip, that's worth it. Libraries, again, NRA have got lots of material online. So if you thought you're getting a little bit tired of this particular aspect of your business or always wanted to do something, time to dust off that to-do list. So for me personally, I hate Excel. I'm not an accountant. I do use it reluctantly, but I'm thinking about doing an online Excel basic. I know it's just a fear of math. I don't know. I have accountants, but a fear of maths. But I'm going to do things like that. So be aware, and I'm not paying for any of this. So you don't need to pay for things. So look for the free materials. Do a Google alert. So if there's particular things you're interested in. So I follow particularly overseas trends. I always have. But now I'm looking because they're, 2 weeks, a month ahead of us with this virus traveling around the world. So what's China doing now? What's Korea doing now? So the order of which these countries contacted the virus and did lockdowns, what are they doing the other end? Because we've been very lucky from the medical side to have that benefit. So how, as retailers, how can we use that benefit to our benefit as well, that we're last in the line for this? But yeah, so there's lots and lots of tools, and don't think about business as usual. So when you're thinking about what could the future look like, don't worry about, I want to get back to normal. We don't know what normal, I don't think normal will be normal. I've been doing Zoom for years, but people have just suddenly got onto it because they've had to. So what does your new normal look like? And what we've seen during this period is the businesses that have got subscription models, amazingly, have not been affected. I mean, I noticed at Netflix or one of the big, maybe it's Foxtel because of the sport, but it doesn't say subscription, you've got to survive any crisis, but some of the subscription services, whether it's delivering meal kits, toilet paper, like I Don't Give a Crap or whatever it's called, which we love, or pet food, those sort of things have gone incredibly well because the subscriptions were already there. But what I'm seeing from overseas, some of the trends, and this is post-COVID, is what they're saying, and this is sort of you've got to think of this in the retail context. We've got health, so that will be the new black. Our focus has been on health. Now we're stuck in our homes, so obviously things like gym equipment, online yoga, Pilates, whatever, gone through the roof. But we're concentrating on our health, so we've realised now how just washing our hands, is important, basic stuff. Simplicity, again, we're spending more time in our home and going, oh, it's a bit messy or whatever. So we're suddenly decluttering. So we don't want to bring new stuff in. So what does that mean? So it could be something around in the retail sector, you know, organising a bit like Marie Kondo, you know, touch something and, you know, wish it's best and see it on. But simplicity will be back. Creativity gone through the roof. So that could be a combination of adults stuck at home, children stuck at home with their parents, schooling. Now they're everything in their home. But you know what? Creativity should be part of everyday life, because I think when we're in business, we get so overwhelmed with financials and people aspects and everything that sort of is anti-creative in a lot of ways. So things like craft, music, home DIY, coding, painting. I had on my list gaming, but I don't know why that was under creativity when I was doing my research. But anyway, in China apparently went to the roof during COVID. So there's some trends that I saw over there. I was looking overseas for inspiration, as I said, and it's all about pivoting and innovating. So we saw this with some of the luxury brands. I mean, how amazing in Paris, you got LVMH, you know, Louis Vuitton sewing masks and Gucci doing something else, whatever. Or Louis Vuitton's doing the hand sanitizer, and even the bottle's beautiful, of course. But they didn't go out and go, oh, we don't have the equipment to make that. They knew they had the equipment to make it. So in Australia, we've seen, distillers like gin wineries, beer, who have the ethanol. I don't know how it's made. I know it's very simple, as in it doesn't take a lot. You heat this thing and out comes this ethanol. But they're going, we can do this and we can do hand sanitizer. So there'll be something in front of you that you can do, that you can pivot. So Bleach London, which is a chain of salons, they had to close, of course, but they host bleach parties. So you get invited and they actually send you a kit. I'm assuming you got to pay, but they send you a kit because a lot of women can't get to salons, so their hair colouring. Someone said we're about 2 weeks from finding out everyone's true hair colour. But anyway, the owner guides clients through home maintenance. Now, this is good for two things. One, you're selling the kits. Now, that it is professional kits, so you're not going to get the same result. So you won't lose custom by doing it at home, because you're never going to do it as well. But also you're developing relationships with your clients. So you're talking to them. You may never have met the owner of Bleach London. You might see, you know, I don't know, XYZ. So you're actually getting closer to your clients. Anna Sue was a pop-up, and they've moved into Nordstrom. And Nordstrom's got, because they've closed at the moment, but they've got pop-in at Nordstrom. So rather than do in real life pop-up, they're doing online, and they're going to continue probably doing that. Another one I thought was great was some people in the position to do this, and maybe Net-a-Porter is the company I'm going to mention, and everyone's sort of heard of Net-a-Porter. It's very expensive online clothing, but they own their own delivery and their own supply chain vans in the whole loop. They basically have vans that can deliver to you in London itself and major cities within an hour or two. So what they've said is, we're suspending online deliveries. We're going to give hand over our vans or work with the charities and deliver food and medicine all over England. So they've done that and it fits with their values. Staff are still working for them. It's using a network they've already got. So again, I've got vans, we need medicines in hospital, or even face masks, linking the two together. So it's not about going out there and buying new stuff as such. It's actually using the assets that you've got already. And the other one is an online app called Open Table, and which normally you can just book a table at any restaurant. Things, obviously there's cancellations, or you can just book a table. And they've moved to booking a line in the grocery queue, because stores overseas are restricted by the number of people you can go and store. So you can actually book a spot in the queue through this app. So again, moving the model from restaurants to grocery stores. They already had the technology, they moved it forward. So I think that's the most important thing. And when we get back to business again, it can even be done now, is really visiting our supply chains. Well, we've got to do this anyway. We've got to be very careful of the Slavery Act, etc. But actually looking at focus on local. Where have I been going that I didn't realise someone was just around the corner, or in some cases, really just down the road that I can actually source things from? Sure, I might need to pay a little bit more, but maybe I'll have two chains. So I might have a local supplier in my city, an Australian supplier, and I may even do a third overseas, just so that I'm never ever caught, and give them enough work. Don't just have them up your sleeve, but the quality has to be the same. But I think we're really going to consider that a lot more, because, and tell our clients that we make in Australia. I think made in Australia, and we've seen this with some of the great companies that have been, I don't know what they call in Australia, where the government says you're going to make this, or we're going to send the army in and help you with that, with the medical masks in Victoria and regional Victoria. How amazing, that they've got all the facilities. They just didn't have the manpower. What do? You throw the army at it, and we're just going to get them made. Now that is a much better proposition. It's just down the road. We know it's safe because it's made to the standard of what the hospitals need. It's not come from some factory overseas that we're not sure of the quality, because there's a lot of stuff on websites everywhere where they say it's PPE and it's whatever quality, and they're made by, when they drill down, there was something on the news last night, they're often people who've just got on the bandwagon, they're gift makers or something. They're not the quality that you need for hospital grade. So, and I think we've found that we've had an over-reliance perhaps on overseas suppliers. So unfortunately, is it too late for Australia? I'm not sure. But as a retailer, we'll be looking at all your supply chains, and actually now's the time to ring everyone. How are you going? What are you doing? That's everyone from where you order from to the people that deliver for you. All those people, just ring them up. How are you going? What are you seeing? Because they're often out delivering things, or they're part of other people's supply chains, so they can see trends way before you can. And the other thing is talk to your customers. So, everyone's got some sort of customer database of some sort. Myself, I'm actually writing to my clients. I'm actually going to write a handwritten note, because I think that will be unusual in these times to actually get a note. Now, I'm known for my notes, so it's sort of a thing. So it's not coming out of left field in a lot of ways. But one, I'm supporting Kiki K because of their challenges at the moment. So I bought some things from there. And my local bookstore isn't open where I normally get things from. So I went online, I did Kiki K. And I think that's a personal touch, because I'll really mean it, but also just that someone is out there helping you. And I think that's really, really important. So I guess my message is that you can be overwhelmed, and you can let this, it's like a tsunami wave coming over. And I think what I've found with talking to my clients the last couple of weeks, there's a little bit of a calm now that everything's been decided, locked away through. No one could do anything while it hadn't gone through Parliament, the JobKeeper. No one really knew what the final thing would look like. Now we know it's through. It's got the rubber stamp on at 10:30 last night. And I'm going to another webinar after this to listen to some of the finer details. But I can't stress enough, it's up to you to self-educate. And I find calmness in writing my lists, understanding what I don't know, understanding what I do know, and making sure I'm applying it to my business and putting that in a structure. So if I started work at 9 in the old world, I start work at 9. If I do certain things at certain times of the day, because everyone's working from home, I keep that schedule going. And I think that's the important part, is keep it going. We're business owners, a lot of us. We're in retail. We don't know what's going to happen. Get together with other people, have regular Zoom meetings with your staff if you've got staff, even just to check in to see how they're going. What have you been doing? What funny things? Have a dress up. I've seen dress up days where Friday's formal day now. So get your team on board. Well, not tomorrow, it's Good Friday. That could be another thing. but get together, have some fun, and just keep that going, because do things you used to do, but just do them in a different way. And I think just check in on everyone. So I think we're going to be a lot more compassionate. I think there's going to be a lot more empathy, and it's interesting to see the brands that some brands have gone into full on trying to sell you stuff. Some brands are there to help you. So Queensland Ballet, for example, they've got free ballet lessons online. So they normally sell those classes in real life, but they've put on a sample of each one. One, it keeps the brand alive, and two, it keeps them front of mind, and they're giving back to the community. We're all stuck away. Have a look. They're lots of fun. I go to their classes in real life, but of course they're online now. It's only a couple, and they'll be putting up new ones every week. So don't think about sales all the time. Thinking about helping, and thinking about how will my customers be feeling. What can I do to help them? So like the Bleach London example, everyone's hair, it's got to be a mess. Everyone's ringing her for colour ideas. How can I make this better and have some fun with it? And yeah, so hopefully that might be helpful for retailers. Okay.
Amazing. Chris, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Okay.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll probably see you again in the future, but thank you again.
Fantastic. Thanks, Beck.